All right, welcome back, guys. We have got so much happening here and getting excited. We're going to be going out to the show floor in just a moment. I just want to give you a couple of reminders real quick. A lot of information coming your way. Listening to the speed some of us talk, you sometimes need to go back and you need to replay, take better notes, do these kind of things. I'm a huge fan. Not only do I like to, just a little peek into my process, not only do I like to rely on replays and just-in-time learning, but I quite often will go to the trouble, especially because it's so easy these days, is to go ahead and get a quick machine-generated transcription of a recording. If I think someone's a good speaker, I want to emulate them. I think they're covering the topic well. I love nothing better than I like the energy of these live-type presentations that we get here, but sometimes if I'm going back and I want to dig into it, I want to pull that stuff out. I want to say, okay, what were the key points that were made there? So I kind of reconstruct it and work it backwards. Either way, the point is, we have replays available on demand. We also want to continue to hear from you. Hashtag Cisco Live EMEA. And with that, we're going to continue the IoT discussion. And now with Richard Mullen again, but with a different host. Nish Parker, you ready to take it away with our friend Richard?
Yes, thank you so much, Rob. Yep, I'm back here with Richard Mullen. We've just come out of an innovation talk. We had from Scottish Power Renewables, and sorry, remind me of the other company.
Siemens Gamesa, the turbine manufacturer that is actually installing a number of the turbines out there in the North Sea.
Amazing. So you are going to show us how this all comes into action and bring it to life.
Yeah, we talked about it. We came by here before, but let's put it in context of what you just heard about when you were in the iTalk, right? So you heard Chris talking about just how do I manage a massive farm that's 50 miles off the coast. And that's what we've drawn up here on our little maps here. So we've got the farm area network, and he mentioned the issue of, well, we don't obviously have cell towers out there, we don't have any cellular connection, but what we do have is we've got the turbines communicating with one another and with these service operational vehicles, right? So this is going to drive up during installation. I couldn't believe, Chris told me that they install one of these in a day. It was amazing.
What?
And then if they got to do a triage, they're going to sail up to the turbine so they can service it. And they're using this IW9165D is the product that they use for Cisco Reliable Ultra Backhaul. So it's giving them fiber-like connectivity with very low latency, connecting the turbines to one another so you don't have to run fiber cable all underwater under the North Sea and between the service vessel and the turbine, right? So that's creating communications, but then also you heard Siemens Gamesa talking about, all right, what do we have inside the turbine, right? They've got all sorts of different systems, right? That turbine's spinning, it's got a generator involved, it's got all the systems that just operate. And here we use a ruggedized catalyst switch. So this, we'll just tilt this up, Steve, and you can see we've got this IA3400. Now, most of our guests know this as the Catalyst like 9000 series. Same switch, but now in a ruggedized form factor. It can sit out there in the North Sea, in the turbine, connect the different systems together.
It looks a little bit too beautiful to do that.
I know. Well, you think, and then you see
I want that in my home office.
Well, yeah. Then you get then you get the salt crust on it. You get all the gunk. But it's connecting the various systems, and then we create a security perimeter with this device. So it's running a hypervisor on the switch. We use CyberVision to do IP addressing as well as network flow at the turbine level, and then we backhaul all of that. That starts the visibility, the segmentation process, ICE if we're bringing in resourcing or we need people to be able to tunnel into a particular device. We're bringing all of that to bear in the network stack. Using DNA Center, we can use DNA Center to basically manage this. So we're just extending, using the extended policy node that you would do from the network stack, now all the way out into the North Sea. So that's how we're kind of connecting with that. And we also mentioned this in the iTalk. So think about this particular device here. So here I also have wireless. We're in our mobile asset area. Here I'm using the 9167E as a gateway that can be either Wi-Fi or ultra backhaul. So if you've got a sled that's moving around and delivering products, in a huge distribution or a warehouse, you can put this on it and then you can communicate either with a Wi-Fi network or with ultra backhaul in the warehouse and then as you're moving around. So that way we're not totally reliant on just one type of connectivity technology. We can use multiple different multi-access, multi-domains, what we kind of call that.
Got it. So tell me, what is the one big thing how is this going to make a difference for customers? What is really standing out? Is it going to make things easier, simpler, more effective?
Right. Well, we were chatting a little bit before we came on, and you're living in the UK, you're living overseas, and you think about just what's going on regarding electrification. And the fact that there is a tremendous kind of move of digitization around what we're doing regarding renewables, as we talked about with Scottish Power, what we're doing about just working in the grid. And so what we're seeing from customers is help us accelerate that in every industry. And you can see everything represented at the top of our wall. So even manufacturing, how do I get into the production line? Am I able to see exactly what's in my work cell? Creating a security policy and unifying that across multiple plants, multiple geographies globally. So this digitization piece, it's really been, we've seen that's picking up, kind of coming out of the pandemic, but then it's been driven on this electrification element and this digitization, and that is why our booth always looks like this.
It's always this busy.
Customers are saying, and think about it from an IT perspective. I'm being asked to provide more services to my operational side of the house. How can you help me standardize security? How can you make sure that we're not being, we're not under threat of attack? How do I manage this globally? I've got fewer people. I've got a much more complicated operation. That's what we're providing to the customer set. You can be that standard in your firm to help use technology, use Cisco as a way of solving a lot of these challenges that we just see in our little cartoon characters that you've got up on the wall. So that's what we're up to.
Amazing. And just one final question for you, Richard, before we head back to the studio. This is your baby. You've created this. So tell me a bit about this storytelling. What are you excited about most at the booth here?
So we've been doing this for a while in the IoT area, and a little of the secret sauce, what kind of works for us here, is what we're trying to do is get the guest engaged in a technical conversation. That's what we're trying to do in the space. And so we've done this many, many times, and we've tweaked it many times, and what we do is we place a little bit of the architecture on the wall, right? It works as a teaching tool. You could, working with our guests, walking them through a scenario, and then what we want is the guest to start talking about, all right, exactly what's the challenge that we have? What's my network, how's it peculiar versus off your diagram? We then pull the products in, and then we've got stations where we use the tools, where we talk about managing that. So IoT Operations Dashboard, for example, or CyberVision, or DNAC. That's what we do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Richard. And with that, we're going to head straight back to the studio. Back to you, Rob.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nish, and thank you, Richard. Richard, we have so much fun using him. I know he can't hear me right now, but he is a fantastic presenter, and he truly does oversee everything you're seeing along that wall. The storytelling, the devices, it's a lot to keep up with, but I can see from the show and tell they have over there, this is a great place to go visit. So if you're physically here, it's a great way to really get your head wrapped around what they're providing. We're going to go to a video right now, and then when we get back in the video, we're going to have a conversation that Cedric's leading, Scottish Power. I believe is who he's got in the hot seat. But with that, let's take a look at the video right now.
The industrial environment presents a number of challenges. Assets are remote and highly distributed, like traffic intersections, trains, remote energy sources. They're often moving, making them difficult to connect to, and they require the same level of security as on-premises assets. Cisco IoT Operations Dashboard addresses these challenges and the need for secure operations at scale. It is a cloud-based dashboard with a set of services designed to onboard and manage network devices, provide alarm and troubleshooting, and enable secure equipment access to solve issues in the field. One of the largest issues customers face is a lack of visibility into the details of what's connected. We solve this with the integration of our IoT Operations Dashboard, CyberVision, and secure equipment access. With Cisco, customers see all the assets associated with their IoT infrastructure. In addition to seeing everything that's connected, we provide operators vulnerability risk scores for each asset and identify at-risk software that needs updating. Let's look at a real-world example. City traffic management systems have thousands of intersections, each responsible for monitoring and moving pedestrians and vehicles. Each intersection has traffic controllers, cameras, and signal devices. There's an issue with a camera at one of these intersections. IoT Operations Dashboard with the Secure Equipment Access enables customers to access the traffic cabinet and all third-party systems at this intersection. Their technician uses Cisco Secure Equipment Access, align the credentials with the correct system, and troubleshoot the problem without having to dispatch a crew to the site. With Cisco, the customer completely eliminated the time and cost associated with a truck roll. Only Cisco enables customers to connect devices, manage at scale, and deploy end-to-end security.
Hello there, everyone. I am here back in the studio. I was out and about with our camera team, but it's great to be here. It's great to be here with two wonderful guests. I'm going to introduce them in a second, but sustainability is a big part for Cisco. We've heard a lot during the keynote. We have a sustainability zone here, and we have a few use cases there, and renewable energy is one of them. And I'm super pleased to have Chris and Samuel with us. Chris is a lead cyber engineer at Scottish Power, and Chris is with us here at Cisco. So hey guys, how are you doing?
Very good. Thank you.
How has Cisco Live been so far for you guys?
Oh, it's hectic. There's just so much going on, so much to see, and I think my step count's maybe 30,000 steps for today alone.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. What is your? Do you have any idea of your step count?
It's fantastic to go back in person and meet customer and partner.
Great. Yeah. We're truly all in here at Cisco Live, right? But anyway, so what I know from you, Chris, is that you are constructing wind farms at a large scale, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so obviously the whole world, we all know about the environmental crisis. We really need to make the transition to clean energy. And Scottish Power Renewables, we're part of the Iberdrola Group. We're really focused on making sure that we achieve that goal. By 2025, we hope to have 52 terawatts of renewable generation. And in context, the UK in a normal day will consume about 40 terawatts. So by 2025, we should be able to power a country the size of UK.
Wow. Okay, wow, that's massive. So if I think about wind turbines and large scale and so on, what is required for you to construct those farms?
We construct in countries all around the world, so we may be constructing a wind farm in France, Germany, Belgium. We've got projects going on in Japan, Poland, all around the world, the United States. And it means bringing together, you're working in the middle of the ocean, you need specialist vessels to actually construct the wind farm. You've got to prefabricate everything and build all the components and modules on shore. You take out the foundation, put the foundation on the seabed, erect a tower onto which the generator is installed, and then install the turbine blades onto the generator. So these are vast scales. A wind turbine is maybe 200 meters tall.
Yeah.
Lots of very heavy, dangerous work in a very hard environment.
So you're constructing these wind farms, it's in remote areas as well, and so on. How does Cisco come into this story?
So within each wind farm, within a wind turbine itself, each wind turbine may have 4 Cisco switches in the turbine itself. Over the whole wind farm, that could be 500 Cisco switches just joining the wind turbine together. We then have Cisco routers to take the backhaul back to our corporate data centers and control centers. All of the operations are done remotely, so we're absolutely critically dependent on getting the communication so we can operate and maintain the wind farm. As I mentioned, there's a lot of vessels involved in constructing, operating and maintaining the wind farm, so we need the communications to them, and we're using the ultra-reliable wireless backhaul products to connect those vessels so that people have everything they need, from telephone calls to being able to maintain the wind farm, to being able to go to their cabin at night and watch Netflix or use Wi-Fi.
Great. Well, thank you, Chris. I want to go over to you, Samuel. How does this relate to what we're announcing here at Cisco Live EMEA in Cisco Live EMEA in Amsterdam? Yes, I got that.
Thank you for it. Well, you heard from Chris, and what we see on the market right now is we have all those enterprise customers that have been using Cisco for many years. And we realize that the network of those customers doesn't end in the enterprise building and to the campus or data center. They need to connect things that are outside. They need to connect the manufacturing floor They need to connect the offshore wind farm, like Chris mentioned, and that's what he's doing. So, when we talk about bringing IT to simplicity and simplicity to IT at Cisco, that's what we're trying to do. Well, we also bring simplicity to OT network, industrial network, and that's really what we are trying to do today at Cisco Live, is announcing a set of new products to be able to simplify the work of our customer like Chris at Scottish Power.
Great. Well, Samuel, Chris, thank you so much for joining me here at Cisco Live in the studio. We're going to throw it over right now to the iTalk with Snorre and Larissa. So enjoy.